Ladies and gentlemen, we got the patch notes for the Fantastic Four update with the maintenance notice that's going to start at 4 p.m. Pacific today, at Tuesday, and it's going to end at midnight Pacific, which is 3 a.m. Eastern, early Wednesday morning on June the 12th. So yeah, that's the plan. 3 a.m. on June 12th. I will be live here on YouTube to check out the new update, to see the multiverse saga stuff, all the new characters, all the new uniforms, etc. So do not miss it. That's going to be live here on YouTube, 3 a.m. Eastern time. Bring your coffee. Now, as far as the patch notes go, let's dive into it. We have a lot of questions, and I think my summary on it is that I don't have all of the answers. At least that's how I feel about it. Some people are going to have enough answers to make a decision and sort of come to a conclusion about the update, whether they think it's going to be good or going to be bad. I'm still sort of on the fence. I don't like being on the fence, but I am still on the fence because, yeah, as you'll see, I don't have enough answers just yet. So let's check it out here. We got Franklin as a new character. He is available from the Multiverse Saga Day of the Doom Plus pack, which we saw has a price tag of, I believe, $40 US, $50 Canadian, 50,000 Korean won, etc. He's also available in the Dimension Mission Contribution Chest Reward. So he is in the same difficulty to obtain as characters like Professor X, as characters like Abomination, Rachel Summers, etc., Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I think there's a possibility, it's not confirmed, but there's a possibility that he won't be sold during Black Friday like those characters are, because they are advertised as Danger Room characters, so you can buy them specifically on Black Friday for, I think it's 4,500 crystals. He may be available on Black Friday for 4,500, like Professor X, like Negasonic, etc. But it's unclear, right? It's unclear. He gives all allies a decreased debuff duration, which is terrible, so his leadership is useless. His tier 2 passive is good. He's got damage reduction, skill damage, bonus damage, and then all defense. So classic package for powerful characters by today's standards, and sort of PvP skewing, because instead of like guaranteed crit and stuff like that, he's got the damage reduction. When HP is below 40%, this applies to him and all Fantastic Four allies. So this is a support passive. They pop a 40% heal, so they pop back up to 80% or higher, and then they increase their max HP by 40% for 7 seconds. That's pretty cool, and that will help tank specific PvP content, but that only lasts for 7 seconds, and it's on a 5-minute cooldown, which means it will never proc for the rest of the fight once it does proc. Now, yeah, that does give them, the chance to survive for 7 seconds. It gives Reed and Sue the chance to maybe charge up their tier 4 and pop that or whatever. But yeah, 7 seconds on a 300-second cooldown is crazy long. I don't know if this is really going to have any meaningful effects. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. His skills are pretty straightforward. He has effect, he has accumulation, he's got burn, he's got paralysis, snare, he's got frenzy buff, he's got a 30% heal with a 100% damage proc on energy rush, so that should hit pretty hard. Does not have iframe ignore, does not have reflect or any other cute things, doesn't have a revive or anything like that. So I would say he's a little bit light on PvP relevant abilities, but we will see. We'll have to wait and see. Then we get Valeria Richards, who is only available through the Multiverse Saga Day of the Dooms, but it doesn't seem like, it's unclear whether you have to buy that pack or not from Franklin. So hopefully she's just completely free. So that would be really cool. We get a completely new character that is completely free, a la, Man-Thing, for example. Her leadership is actually really good. Fantastic Four allies get 25% HP and 55% attack. So she actually has a better leadership most of the time than Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, for the Fantastic Four specifically. She gets guaranteed dodge, skill damage, bonus damage. She gets more dodge, I guess, and ignore dodge, which is okay. The rest of her kit is pretty straightforward. She does not have accumulation. She has a damage proc. She has frenzy buffs with a 20% heal, but no accumulation. So not sure if she's really going to be relevant for any content. No PvP abilities, no iframe ignore. And then no accumulation means that the PvE side could suffer. So I don't really know exactly what Valeria is around for, except her artifact, as you'll see later, and her leadership. Yeah. Then we got the 2 new uniforms for Reed and Sue. So Reed's uniform is pretty PvP skewing. His uniform effect increases attack by 40% and then gives him 40% defense. So 40% attack, 40% defense, and super armor. He maintains the immunity to fracture, so he can't be easily punished by someone like Strife. He keeps the 40-40 skill damage bonus damage, and he has 25% damage reduction. His heal is 5% over 2 seconds with a 5-second cooldown on the elasticity or elastic body. And then he can go up to 40% physical damage reduction, which is kind of relevant against certain characters like Wolverine. But again, most characters that are going to check him, like Universals and Blast types, are not going to deal physical damage. They're going to deal energy damage. So it's not really going to be that relevant. His skills are pretty straightforward. He does have a 6-second cooldown, so it's 12 seconds, but when you account for 50% skill cooldown, he's got a 6-second attack that it gives him iframe ignore, and it's a counter attack skill, so it means it does more hits when he gets hit, and it also recovers 40% of his HP, and it has 40% chance to penetrate. 40% is pretty low. I will say that it's almost too low, but we'll have to wait and see how many hits it has. It does also apply for 6 seconds, so it will bleed over into other skills, which is nice. He has 5 seconds of invincibility on Human Whip, which is also nice, and then he does get a 10 hit barrier on his 5th skill with a frenzy buff. Some people think the barrier is bad. It's actually not that bad. It's actually decent when characters who don't have native penetration are attacking with skills that don't have penetration. The barrier can often absorb some of those hits, and free hits absorbed is humongous. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, nothing else really in his kit is screaming like OP. We'll have to wait and see. He might be really strong, he might not be. It really just depends on that 3rd skill, Fantastic Bounce. And then Invisible Woman with absolute gorgeous icon here. Uniform effect applying to all allies, removing debuffs and giving immunity to debuffs for 12 seconds with a 20-second cooldown. So we have our 4th member of the debuff squad. We started with Wasp, then we got Strife, then we got Angel, now we have Sue Storm. So we have 4 options. Again, of the options, Wasp is still by far the cheapest and arguably the best. You have a seasonal uniform, you have a native tier 2 epic quest finale character, and you have a deluxe pack crystal character. So yeah, very expensive, but still a welcome effect to have. Her awakening skill, Force Field Fury, is getting damage increase, so it's not changing its effect or its animation or anything, but it is getting like a damage increase. So hopefully she'll pop off in Otherworld battle and stuff like that and do more damage. Her attack, her leadership is 45% energy attack to all allies, which is nice and flexible. Her passives, 40% damage reduction with 30% guaranteed dodge. This is what Quicksilver should have had, but hey, it is what it is. She maintains this all allies barrier thing, and then the invisibility with ignore targeting for 2 seconds. When hit, the invisibility shift. It's pretty good. It's just the cooldown is still very long. 5-second cooldown means it doesn't trigger that often. It only triggers about 40% of the fight. So yeah, it is what it is. Her skills seem pretty basic. She gets Charm with a potential to heal. She does get Accumulation. She does have an 80% chance to penetrate on her 4th skill with a buff. And then she does heal for 30% on her 5th skill with Invincibility, but it's only 3 seconds of Invincibility, and she does have kind of long cooldowns, 16 seconds, 17 seconds, 16 seconds. So I'm not sure how successful she's going to be. Seeing things like 3 seconds of Invincibility is actually kind of crazy. I hope that's a typo, because that's really not a long time at all. Not having iframe ignore, not having any way to check reflect and stuff like that. If all of these skills are not iframes, she's going to get absolutely clapped. So we'll have to wait and see, because yeah. And then we have the tier 4s. So Mr. Fantastic is getting a pretty nice tier 4 leader's charisma. He buffs his attack by 120%, which is pretty huge. And then he ignores all damage over max HP plus 5%. I don't understand what that means. I thought I understood what that means. I thought it was similar to Captain America's tier 4 passive. It sounds like he can't get one-shotted, but it sounds like he can get one-shotted. Yeah, it's really confusing. I'm gonna have to see. It only lasts for 3 seconds, so we're gonna have to wait and see exactly what the effects are. It sounds like he can't take damage over a certain amount, right? Like he has like a max damage threshold, but we'll have to wait and see what it is. And then he also heals himself for 10% over 7 seconds, so he heals for 70%. It does seem like a very nice tier 4. We just have to see. It's 3 different effects. And then Invisible Woman also gets a bunch of effects. She increases her max HP by 60% for 7 seconds, so she gets a huge chunk of HP. She also buffs her attack. She snares enemies. And then this tier 4 actually does damage. It's 200%. It's not quite 1,000% like Blue Dragon, but it does deal damage. Then we have Franklin and Valeria's awakening skills. These skills do not have accumulation, so in case you were hoping to see it for Valeria or whatever, no, there's no accumulation here. So yeah, these skills just, yep, they just deal damage, which is, I mean, they look cool, but lack of accumulation is a question mark these days. Then we have the new content, Multiverse Saga. Now, this is the content that we have a lot of questions about, and I think, unfortunately, the patch notes don't answer all of those questions that I have. But yeah, so the first theme revealed in Multiverse Saga is Day of the Dooms. So from what I understand, this Multiverse Saga is supposed to be a new pseudo story type game mode, and this one is called Day of the Dooms, which features the Fantastic Four. In the future, I think if this content is received well and if the players are happy and whatever, it sells well, then they will release more chapters, like not chapters, they'll release more stories featuring different characters. So, you know, this is Multiverse Saga is like the umbrella term, and then this is just one of the sort of modules called Day of the Dooms for the Fantastic Four. And then there could be another module called like Secret Wars for the Avengers or whatever. There could be another module called like, I don't know, Beyond for whoever. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think anyways. So in this theme, you proceed through the story using the designated hero and uniform in each chapter. So you have Boss, Hidden Boss, which is only available by purchasing the pack. You have First Clear rewards, and then you have the Crystal Chest from the Heroic Quest. The Crystal Chest from the Heroic Quest it functions exactly the same way. You get crystals by completing content, and it fills up, and then once it's full, 600 out of 600, then you can pay real money, paying a certain amount when the crystal safe is full to get the crystals. So you cannot farm free crystals from Multiverse Saga. Some people were confused and saying you could. There was a free crystal chest. No, it's the same crystal chest from the Heroic Quest, just to clear that up here. Pretty much everything we assumed was the case from the live stream is still the case here. The next chapter is unlocked after completing normal episodes. If there's chapter wait times, then you have to just wait and there's a timer, or you have to purchase the hidden pack to skip the timer. The Multiverse Saga content itself features special scenes like cutscenes, as well as various gimmicks in battle to help agents immerse themselves in the flow of the story. So I think what they did is they took sort of the best parts of the old story mode where you had to like do certain things, and it's why you couldn't really autoplay the content because you had to like destroy certain things on the stage to advance the stage, or you had to do some sort of like animation cancel. They have this sort of thing now. As you can see, these enemies have bubbles, and the bubbles correspond to specific elements. So there's like blue bubbles that are cold damage and red bubbles that are fire damage. And so you have to switch from Mr. Fantastic to Crystal, and then you have to use either fire damage or cold damage to break the shields in order to kill the mobs. That seems like a lot of work to do every day, but it says that you can clear ticket this content once you've completed it. So this content becomes farmable, but it doesn't become tedious in the sense that you have to do this a day in and day out every single day for the rest of time. That would be pretty bad, and that would be sort of too much, too laborious. So yeah. Agent's account information is not reflected in the specifications of the hero played during Multiverse Saga. So this is something that I think it doesn't really, it kind of matters, it doesn't really matter. Basically, this content is open to all players, and it doesn't matter. The content difficulty is not based or scaled on your account's progress, which means that whales and new players will have essentially the same experience playing this content from a standpoint of like damage and those kind and HP and those kinds of things. Now, whales and veteran players will still have an advantage because they understand the game mechanics better. They understand positioning, they understand the joystick movement, and then the skill canceling and stuff like that new players won't have a grasp on yet. But other things won't matter. Like, you don't need Pierce to do this content. You don't need, specific sword buffs or whatever. You don't need to build your crystal. You don't need to transcend her or whatever the hell. You don't need to tier 2 your crystal. You don't need to give her an ISO 8 set. You don't need to worry about any of that stuff because none of that stuff is reflected. It's just like it's just like world event. Agents can obtain emblems, which is a new collectible item, and various growth material rewards, which are presumably for emblems, when they clear the boss chapter. So this is where you'll have to see, like, you can do, I guess you have 5 entries per day, and you can beat the bosses. This boss here, this Doom boss, we'll have to see the difficulty. I guess you can get Valeria drops, so it seems like she is completely free to play, farmable. And then you can also get emblems. Now, a couple of nice things to say about emblems here is that the emblems cannot drop as duplicates. So once you have an emblem, if you get it again a second time, it will convert into emblem experience or emblem data that you can use to level up that emblem or level up other emblems of the same rarity, which is quite nice. But yeah, so presumably people who pay for the pack will have an advantage because they get a second boss fight, because there's a regular boss that everybody gets and then there's a hidden boss that only the pack purchasers buy. So presumably people who buy the pack will have essentially twice as many clears per day to farm the same items. That's a pretty big advantage, but it doesn't mean that it's not free to play, right? Because you still have this regular boss that everybody can farm every day. It's just that there's a second extra boss that only the people that buy the pack can play. Unfortunately, it also seems like the pack is not available for crystals. It's only available for real money. Now, again, I think the devs should consider allowing maybe just the hidden boss to be unlocked for a few thousand crystals. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, there is a clear advantage. There isn't an exclusive advantage. This is probably the best way to put it. There is a clear advantage to buying this pack, but there is no exclusive advantage to buying the pack. Everything in the pack can be achieved by time, which is the classic mobile game strategy. Because yes, over time, if you open enough of those Dimension Mission contribution chests, you'll get 5 Bios of Franklin, and then boom, you can rank him up for free. Over time, you'll grind those 1,000 crystals for free, and then over time, the chapter wait time will disappear. Right? So yeah, the only thing I guess you can unlock for sure, the only thing that's 100% exclusive is the hidden story, but those are literally just missions that you play once and you never play again. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag. It's a little bit better in some ways than I thought, and it's just as bad as I thought in some other ways. So I feel kind of 50-50 about it. We have the new content, the emblem collection. So this is what we're talking about with the emblems. So yeah, it says here emblems cannot be acquired multiple times. So there's no dupes. When you acquire an emblem that you already have, it's converted into emblem data of the same rarity. So if you pull, like if you already have all of the mythic emblems and you pull another mythic emblem, you find another mythic emblem, it converts into 128 mythic emblem data, which then allows you to level up other emblems. So that's sort of good. It's annoying with artifacts when you get duplicates because they serve very little purpose. So I feel like these emblems, although there are some things that are worse about them, this is the sort of thing that's better about them because they have more value when you, like, pulling dupes doesn't feel so bad, right? Because you get to convert them into data. Now, again, we're going to have to see what the final numbers are. It's tough to say whether this system is going to be very free-to-play friendly or not, whether it's going to be very grindy or not. I do expect the system to take a while to complete. Like, again, there's no system that they would introduce into the game that you complete in a month or 2 months, right? Unless you're obviously throwing tons of cash at it. This should take you months, possibly years. That's not a problem, right? The length of time is not a problem. It's more like, is it frustrating to get the emblems? Are you gonna unlock all of the easy emblems and then just be missing all of the strong ones? And then that's just kind of RNG bullshit. We got to see what the layers are to them. But unfortunately, the patch notes don't really explain all of that too clearly. We do see this one emblem here, Peter Parker. This is like a normal sort of like low rarity emblem, which applies to all allies only in timeline battle, and it increases resistances by 2%. And then I guess because they leveled it up to level 2, it's 2.1%. So not like crazy buffs. Again, the totality of the emblems, when you have all of them maxed out, that might be a big difference from a normal account to a big up account. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Agents can enhance emblems using emblem data, and then there's also emblem enhancement kits and gold. It's a bit unclear what that is. Again, the patch notes are not super detailed. I think an emblem enhancement kit may be for giving the emblem an extra star. It's kind of, again, it's unclear. But yeah, we don't know exactly what an emblem enhancement kit is just yet. So it says the emblem enhancement kit is used as material only in certain levels. So maybe every 5 levels you need an emblem enhancement kit, or when you're going from 1 star to an X star, you need an emblem enhancement kit. I don't know. I don't even know if they tell us where to get emblem enhancement kits. That's the other thing that's kind of annoying. And the other question I have is, like, can you get emblems anywhere else, or is it only in the Multiverse Saga? Again, these are questions I have that the patch notes just don't answer, so we'll have to wait and see. They talk about the one-time rewards that we saw in the live stream for obtaining a certain number of stars in each of the different emblem categories. And then we have the rewards. So these rewards are related to the emblem collections. You have three distinct emblem collections. You have the one for Spider-Man, the one for Iron Man, and the one for Shield. Once you unlock with a certain number of emblems, you get a certain number of stars, you unlock the reward, then it will cycle through daily between 3 different drop types. So each of the different emblems has 3 different drops that can appear, and then it resets every 24 hours, and you can just acquire it for free without having to farm the content. These are the sort of items that can appear, the resources. So the Amazing Spider-Man can drop either Black Antimatter, CCF, or Life Seed. And then you can see the odds of getting each one. Obviously, the rarest one, the Life Seed, is the lowest at 5%. But as you level up the emblem collection, as you increase the Spider-Man emblem collection, then the chance to get Life Seed more than quadruples from 5% up to 25%. And the amount from 15 goes up to 30%. So yeah, getting an extra 30 Life Seed with a 25% chance every day, again, doesn't seem like a lot, but if you don't get the Life Seed, you can still get 45 CCF or 50 Black Antimatter, and again, that's for doing absolutely nothing. You just go in and click and you're done. So it's sort of like Dispatch. And then this is sort of like just an extra passive reward to encourage you to keep building up your emblems passively, actively, farming, whatever. You have in the Iron Man one, you can get Norn Stones of Chaos, Essence of Dimension, or Carbonadium, tier 4 material. Again, 5% chance at the lowest, 25% chance at the highest with a 30 drop, with 30 materials drop. And then for the Shield one, it is Black Antimatter again, Titan Component Packs, or Soul of the Foul Team. So given that, I would say like all 3 of them are useful for tier 4 materials, but I would say given that Carbonadium and Life Seed seem to be the bottleneck for most players, Iron Man and Shield 1 are probably the best to focus on early on, but you do have a little bit of overlap with Black Antimatter appearing twice, so it's really up to the players and what they need. But yeah, this is all right. I think they could have tweaked the numbers a little bit. I think it could have been like 50 Soul of the Foul Team or 40, but we always have this complaint about rewards. But they've also added an emblem chest to the store. So for those of you wondering if you can gamble on this, if the whales can whale, absolutely they can. So yes, there will be some whales who flex day 1, all emblems complete. I mean, maybe it's possible, who knows? It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. We have a bunch of new products. So this is unusual. They usually don't add products to the patch notes. I was initially uncomfortable about this as I was sitting on the toilet reading the patch notes, but then I saw the packs, and although they are purchasable with real money, which I know is not it's not a possibility for all of you watching, the deals themselves are very competitively good. So you can sort of interpret that as you will. But yeah, just a brief cover here. $10 to get 700 crystals, a 6-star rank up ticket, and a mega tier 2 ticket. Now there are certain you have to reach a certain level, or you have to like do something specifically in the game for these products to pop up, so they won't just pop up for you naturally. It's when you acquire Valeria. When you unlock Valeria 1-star, then this pack will appear. Presumably, once you get Valeria past 2 stars or whatever, the pack will disappear. So these sorts of sales lean heavily on FOMO, and like, oh, this will never appear again, so you have to buy it now or it's gone forever. That sucks. I don't like FOMO and stuff like that, so that's definitely a downside for me. If I had to just purely objectively look at the pack and tell you, is this a good amount of resources or deals, whatever, for $10, I would have to say yes, it is. It is a good amount, and that basically goes for all of the packs here. This one is a little bit worse, $30 when you acquire Franklin Richards. It gives you a potential Transcendence ticket, a Mega Tier 2 ticket, and 1,000 crystals. This one's actually the only other one that's kind of bad. The only one that's bad. But the first one is good. This one here, again, it's unclear, but 1,100 crystals for $10 is already pretty good. You get an emblem selector, a rare emblem selector. You can already see they're monetizing this stuff. You get a chest with a random emblem between rare and legendary rarity. Sure, whatever. You have another one here, heroic to mythic. This is $20. Again, the crystals are a competitive amount. I don't know if the other resources are good because they're brand new resources. We've never seen them in the game before. We don't know how rare they are. This one here for $5 with a uniform ticket and 500 crystals. Yeah, that is good. That's a good deal. This one here is, again, it's unclear. It seems good because you get a uniform ticket, 1,000 crystals, and you get a selector, a support character selector, but who is in that selector? We have no idea. So again, the patch notes are not really very clear, not very transparent. A premium support character, I don't know what that means. That could be good. It's $10 more, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'll review these when they're actually in the game, but yeah, for now, that's what it is. And then we get the new artifacts, which with a pretty crazy power spike. So Franklin Richards artifact applies to Fantastic Four allies, immortality. So this is pretty crazy. He has an immortality artifact that applies to himself and any other Fantastic Four allies. So we've been asking for this for a long time. It's finally here. Now, they did tweak it. They thought it was maybe a little bit too OP to be 7 seconds. So it's only 4 seconds at max rank. So people get confused. It says level 4 stats. That's not a 4-star artifact. That's a 6-star artifact. Because the artifacts start, the exclusive artifacts start at 3 stars. And 3 stars is considered a level 1 artifact. So 4 stars would be a level 2 artifact. 5 stars would be a level 3 artifact. And then 6 stars would be a level 4 artifact. So it's a 6-star artifact. It's 4 seconds. So it's unclear whether the 3-star artifact is going to be 1 second, which would be super cringe, or if it's going to go down by, let's say, half seconds, which means a 5-star would be 3.5, a 4-star would be 3, and then a 3-star would be 2.5. If that's the case, I would recommend getting Franklin's artifact from the selectors in the token events that are going to be coming up soon, because that's a pretty OP artifact. Pretty insane. Valeria's artifact is also pretty insane, so they gave both of the kids pretty insane support artifacts. Again, applies to Fantastic Four allies, so yeah. Increasing damage to supervillains, increasing all basic attack, and increasing damage to boss types. So a lot of PvE buffs, but also some PvP side there. Reed gets increased damage to enemies with 50% HP or higher, and non-boss enemy damage reduction. Damage decrease. So basically he ignores some of the damage decreases in PvP. And then Sue gives her ignore, dodge, and all attack, which is probably the worst one. But yeah, Valeria and Franklin, very, very strong, very, very useful. We have the new icons, which honestly look pretty cool, especially Ben and Sue. We have some quality of life changes or improvements, whatever. The heroic quest is gone, as we talked about. They're now selling the characters for 1,500 crystals. It's unclear if these characters will be on sale during Black Friday, but it's possible that they will be on sale during Black Friday for 50% off, so maybe wait. They're adding auto roll for cards, which I'm done with my cards now, but thank you. This is still a really good change. It should have been in the game years ago, but yeah. So now, just like you auto roll obelisks, you can auto roll cards. You can set the quality that you want. You can set the bonus options that you're looking for, and then it will just keep rolling the cards until it finds that exact roll. I think that's really nice that they did that. I think it's good. Yeah. You can now convert artifacts so you basically convert them into like boost artifacts, so you can use them as reroll fodder without having them each take up an inventory slot. So I know a lot of people were complaining about this new emblem system. It's going to take up so many slots in your inventory. This is a way to sort of mitigate that, or sort of reduce slots in your inventory. I have like 60 slots right now in my inventory taken up by artifacts. So this is gonna open up 60 new slots on my inventory, which is really nice. And it's unclear right now if the emblems actually take up spots in your inventory. Nornstone selector thing where it tells you what you selected, just kind of just whatever. And then they just improved the UI and convenience of the store menu. Very, very nice. So yeah, that's basically it. Kind of a mixed bag. Not the best update, not the worst update. There are a lot of things that I'm still very curious about. We're gonna have to see what I think a lot of this update basically hinges on the emblem system, how accessible it is to new player, to like free-to-play players and players who don't buy the bonus pack, how hard it is to farm, you know, and stuff like that, and how powerful the effects are. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Basically, yeah, the update's gonna live or die on the community's reaction and final verdict on the emblem system. Everything else is sort of gonna take, you know, second stage to that. I'm happy that they're leaning harder into team buffs and team synergies with artifacts and character passives and stuff like that. We'll have to wait and see. On paper, it doesn't seem like the Fantastic Four are going to be able to compete in things like Otherworld Battle against like fully stacked tier 4s, like Wolverine and stuff. But maybe they will. Maybe I'm you know, underselling it. But yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. I know it's a long one. Thank you for watching through it. I appreciate you being here till the end. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the content. I'll see you tonight on the live stream. Take care.